Are you worried that choosing a contractor before you get bids means you're overpaying? Do you wonder if getting 3 bids is the only way to make sure you get a fair price? If so, you're in the right place. Design bid build is dead. It's so dysfunctional and inefficient that it's perfect for government projects. But fortunately, you don't have to be a bureaucrat in your own home. In this video, I'm going to show you why that old method creates more problems than it solves, and what actually works better for homes and remodels. My name is Andrew. I'm an architect in the Pacific Northwest, and that is my specialty, custom homes and major remodels. And one of the questions I get all the time is, Andrew, when should we bring in a contractor? Most architects will tell you to use the design bid build system, and I was one of them. I would design everything down to the doorknob. I still do that, but then wait until that moment to get competitive bids. That's how schools and municipal buildings do it, and it's fine for that, because when you're spending taxpayer money and you need to prove that you followed procedure, design bid build gives you that cover. But you're not a bureaucrat. This is your home, your money, your life, your choice. The method that's designed to protect government officials from accusations of favoritism is terrible for protecting homeowners from budget overruns and surprises. So we're going to cover 3 things. First, why design bid build creates more risk for homeowners, not less. Second, what I do instead and why it protects your budget better. And third, a real-life example where this approach changed everything. Sound good? Let's start with why the old way doesn't work. Here's how design bid build is supposed to work. You hire an architect, they design your home, drawings get finalized, and then you send out that set of drawings to 3 general contractors and ask for bids. A couple of weeks later, the bids come back. Maybe of course there's going to be some question and answer in that time. One contractor says $850,000. Another says $1.2 million. The third says $950,000. Which one is right? None of them and all of them. There's a reason those bids are all over the place. And sometimes the range is even bigger than that. It's not because 2 of those contractors are trying to rip you off. Construction costs vary depending on who's hired to do it. There's no typical cost for anything. There's ranges for every little thing. One contractor has a relationship with his framer who gives him a better rate. Another contractor's electrician is booked out 6 months, so he has to use a more expensive sub. The third contractor just finished a project with leftover materials and he thinks he can use some of that on yours. There's so many reasons. Builders put their money in different baskets, and it ends up with ranges that add up. A few hundred here, a few thousand there, and by the time you're adding foundations and framings and roofing and plumbing, electrical, finishes, all those things, you're looking at 6-figure differences between bids with the same kind of contractor. So what do most homeowners do? They panic, they pick the middle bid, or they pick the lowest one and hope that they got everything. When a contractor just has a short amount of time to price out a set of drawings they've never seen before, it's inevitable that there are going to be some guessing and some cover-your-ass taxes built in there. They have to. They might lowball items that they think are straightforward, pad items that they're unsure about. They might not catch details that matter. And it's not their fault. They're doing the best they can with limited time, limited information. It's a process that was designed for government accountability, but it's not designed to give you the best result. And when you're not a bureaucrat, you don't have to play that game. This is how I do it differently. I bring contractors into the process during design, not after it's done, and not to get competitive bids, like final bids, but to help the client choose someone to work with. So once we have a design direction, it's not final design drawings, but it's a clear sense of what we're building. I introduce clients to 2 or 3 general contractors that I trust are right for that job. And we have conversations. The client gets to know them, see how they think, how they communicate, what their approach is. This is a relationship business. You're going to be with them for a long time. They give general ranges of price ranges, so you have something to compare against. And then the client picks one. And that contractor works with us through the rest of design. Now, they're not bidding the drawing in a couple of weeks. They have months to get to know my design and the client's expectations so that we can be partners in this project. They see how I think, they understand what you care about, they flag concerns before they become expensive problems. We work out issues together in a way to serve you and that makes sense to them. When we finally arrive at construction drawings, the contractor already knows what they're building. The number isn't a guess. They didn't have to fight for the job. It's a budget that we've been building for months together. I know what you're thinking, but Andrew, don't I want to get 3 bids to make sure I'm getting a fair price? But look, that logic, it falls apart in reality. So look, here's what actually happens when contractors know they're bidding competitively. They know that they have a 33% chance of getting the job. So they're going to protect themselves. They pad numbers where they're uncertain. Oh, that detail looks expensive. Add a couple grand more there. They leave things out. They just flat out miss important details. They submit the bid and move on to the next one. But if they had more time, they'd have known about all those things. I just watched that happen on a project in real time. I got to see the difference. We needed a metal subcontractor for some custom railings. When my guy thought that he was working with us, that he was already on the team, he offered to meet on site the next day to walk through the details. When he found out that there was another bidder, everything changed in an instant. Instead of meeting on the site, he sent a proposal with the deposit required. Not being a partner changed everything. He wasn't being a jerk. He's just protecting his time. Why would he invest unpaid time in a project that he might not get? When you bring in one contractor in early and make them part of the team, they invest in it differently. It's not marketing. The site visits aren't billable line items. They're part of the project together. And it's a triangle of architect, builder, and client working together. And that's so much better than animosity and guesswork. So here's what I want you to take away from this. If you're planning a custom home or a major remodel, don't just wait until the design is done to think about who's going to build it. Bring contractors into the conversation once you have a design direction, not to get competitive bids, but to find someone to work with through the process. You're still choosing the contractor based on the same things you'd evaluate in the end, their track record, their communication, and a lot of times that's just what it comes down to more than the money for a lot of people. How they think about your project, how they treat you. But you're making that choice when everyone's focused on working together, not on winning a bid. If you want to talk more about how this works on your specific project, I'll offer a 30-minute strategy call. Links in the description. It's not a sales pitch. It's just a conversation about what you're planning and whether this approach makes sense for you. Okay, that's it. Competitive bidding sounds smart, but when you understand how it changes behavior, how it turns collaboration into guesswork, it starts to look like the riskier option. Bringing contractors in early turns guesswork into partnership. And that protects your budget when it matters most, before construction starts, when you have the best chance of keeping it in line. If this video was helpful, hit the like button, subscribe if you want more videos like this, and drop a comment below if you have questions. I read every one. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.